Your powers are weak, old man.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
All right. Forgive me, Idmore brothers, for it has been a week since I last ranted. And this rant's probably going to be short, but it's going to be a morning thought. Now, for the past 2 or 3 months, this SYSBM argument has been going back and forth. And the B1 or Black First or pro-black or whatever you want to call them, because I don't consider them really pro-black in a sense, because they're not really giving a pro-black argument. What they're doing is giving an emotional argument that doesn't make sense. Be that as it may, I'm getting kind of irritated with the stuff going back and forth, and these people thinking that they really have a chance of winning at this, a chance of persuasion or persuading these guys to alter the path that they're on. This path has been in the making for the last 60 years or so, maybe even longer. And it being a natural process of admixture sanctioned by the United States government and acquiesced by the society, there's really not a whole lot that you can do about it. And the little that you can do about it, you're not really acting on it. Because the only way to actually change this SYSBM movement, it's not really a movement, it's an effect, is doing the very thing that you're not doing, which is changing the women, which is giving the guys a better deal, which is something I said months ago. Give these guys a better deal, because you keep coming to them, barking at them, shaming them, trying to debate them on something that is not debatable. There's an old adage in business, it's called the customer is always right. Because no matter what you say, at the end of the day, the customer has to buy. SYSBM are not sellers, they're buyers. They're buying what they want. They're making their choice. And as Man of Tomorrow says, he's been saying, all this is about male choice, period. Because they've never said what woman that you have to choose. They never said not choose black women. They never said choose non-black women. They said make your best choice for you. That's all that's ever been said. Make the best choice for you. It's as simple as that. Make the best choice for you. There is no ambiguity about that. When people go look at the tenets and which should have been a manifesto, and they read that, then they think that's all that there is, because they think SYSBM is a club. Now there's some people that are public about it, and they were already doing it, and they decide to gather like minds, kind of like crowdsource ideas. But at the end of the day, SYSBM is an effect that has a name to it. And all they're asking for is a better deal than what they've been getting. Because according to them, and I happen to agree with them, it's a raw deal. Now, I'm not SYSBM as far as dating and mating, because I've already done that. I've aged out of that arena. But as far as male choice, I 100% agreed with it. I agreed with it when I was younger, before all this stuff came about. I agree with male choice. You have a right to pick the mate that you want to without being shamed for it. Now, if your choice of mate eliminates you from being in a certain arena, so be it. But that is up to each individual man to actually do that. And if guys are not picking the women that you think they should pick, there has to be a reason for it. But you're not listening to the reasons that they're giving, because you think their reasons are invalid. And that's fine if you think their reasons are invalid, but at the end of the day, those are their reasons. And you can't invalidate the reasons of the customer. Why? Go back to rule number 1, the customer is always right. And the only reason they're debating you is because they're trying to see if you're going to offer them a better deal. They're willing to listen and negotiate a better deal. But guess what you're not doing? You're actually giving them a worse deal and telling them that they have to take, like you have a gun to their head, and you don't. because you can't force them to do anything in this particular country because you don't have the power to do it. Because if you had that kind of power, then all of this other stuff would be unnecessary. So calling them cowards, calling them weak, calling them ineffectual, calling them whatever you want to call them, traitors, coons, whatever you want to call them. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they've already made their choice. And the only way to change their mind is to give them a better choice, which is something that you can't do. And most of the things that you're trying don't work because you really only have three options as black men or black people in this country as far as changing these guys' minds. You change the environment, which you can't. Change the women to be more acceptable to these guys, which you can't do or refuse to do, or come up with a better argument to persuade them to come back to the fold, which you don't have. You got butkus, you got nothing, you got goose eggs, you got zero. You cannot shame grown-ass men, especially when they know that they're getting a raw deal, that they're getting a bad deal. You're telling these men that they have to accept these women as they are. And the key word is have to. Like these women or the black women that you're trying to push them on are their only option. And that isn't. 50 years ago, they were the only option. This country said these group of women are your only option. You can't go outside of it. That is no longer the case. And you know the reason that that's no longer the case is because all the other men have options too. All the other men can't say that you can't date our women or our group of women when you date other groups of women. Black women have been dating other groups of men for years, for centuries. And until recently, until the last half century, black men had no other option except the women that were assigned to them. Like I said, that fence is down. So now you can't use the stick to get these men back in line. You got to use a carrot, and you're fresh out of carrots. How are you going to change black men's minds that have been getting a raw deal for centuries to come back and take that raw deal when you can't even change the women that you're trying to push them on? You can't even change their minds, which is the reason you're trying to shame these dudes, because you know you can't work with the women. You know that they won't change, and you're trying to use good men. You know, I've heard this argument. You're trying to use good men and the labors of good men to change the women so that they will act better, that they will cooperate. At the same time, you're trying to get the men to come back to women that will cooperate. You see this catch-22, this conundrum, this Gordian knot that you tied yourself in? The men said, change the environment, change the women first, otherwise we're out. And the women said, we won't change unless the men make it better for us. Now, if the women were the buyers, the women had the power, the women had the money to change the environment and lure these men back in, that'd be fine. But how can you sell women or put the women as a carrot that the men don't want? You can't make men eat something they don't want to eat. You can't make them sit down and take a service that they don't want to have. You can't make them take women that they no longer want anymore. It don't work that way. No, unless you got a force of arms to force these guys back into the line and force them to accept as women like they used to do back in plantation days, where they whipped the guys and whipped the bucks or forced them at the point of castration or death to take a certain woman. Can't do that. Then basically you have no argument. You have no fight. You have nothing. You, like I said, you got buckets. I don't even know why you guys are even trying to have this argument, because at the end of the day, you know that there is none. All you're doing is wasting your time making noise. That's all you're doing. You're wasting time making noise and irritating these guys that want to go on and do something more productive. That's it. And what you're doing is actually telling the other guys, by making all this doggone noise and trying to shove this stuff down people's throats, guess what's happening? The other guys are seeing this, especially younger guys seeing this, and say, why are they trying to shove these women down our throats that we don't want? Why should we have to try to get women that don't act like they like us, or act like they're on our side, or act like they're trying to do something for us? And black women always say, well, we're the only ones that have your back. We're the only ones that will actually do something for you. We're the only one that actually help you build something. And you look at a 200-year-old track record and said, okay, all of a sudden, those other 200 years that are in the past don't count. That you haven't helped us build something. That you've always been antagonistic. That you're still antagonistic to us and compete with us, not work with us. You've been a competitor with us for the last 100 years. You work better with white women than you work with your own men. But you want these guys to accept this? At least other groups of women will actually help you because it helps their own best interest. Black women don't even help you even when it helps their own best interest. It makes no sense. You have no argument. Your fight is with the women, not with the men. You get the women to cooperate. You get the women to act halfway decent. You get the women to actually pretend like they even like these dudes. The dude, you might have a shot. You might have a shot. Other than that, you're wasting your time. It's a stupid argument. It's 100% a stupid argument. If you can't change the women, you can't make the women more acceptable to what the guys really want that they're willing to buy into, then they're going to go someplace else. Half you guys, what you need to do is coach a team. Go coach a team. Go coach a sports team. Doesn't matter what age, little boys, teenagers, men, doesn't matter. If you try to coach a team, you have no power to make these guys play. You have no power to make these guys join the team, because at the end of the day, they can leave. And once they get out on the court, they can do what they want. You have to get these guys to buy into your program. You have to offer them some kind of success. And if you can't do that, you can't give them jobs. You can't give them decent women. You can't ensure that their boys will actually be better under this system. If you can't do that, you're wasting your time. Telling them, oh, Rob, you have to come in and change these women, and you be the change. The guy said, bullshit, we already tried that. We're going to go over here and give it a shot over there. At least it'll be different. At least we'll be starting with a clean slate, because those women have a track record that's better. Sorry. People like winning teams. I'm sorry. People don't like losing teams unless you can appeal to them that they're going to be treated better, which you cannot guarantee that these men are going to get treated better, because you know that they're not. You can't even get your own women in line to actually persuade these guys, at least fool these guys, they're going to get treated better. Because as soon as you say something, that black woman's going to come right behind you and fuck everything up. Can't even get her to shut up for a couple years until you can at least fool these guys, at least give it a try. Because as soon as you say, it's all good, come back and help run the communities, those black women come back and tell those guys that we ain't gonna do nothing you say and you ain't shit. Boom. I said, okay, just what I thought. They're gonna jump back over the fence and keep running. Kunta Kinte is alive and Toby is dead. I'm sorry. Kunta Kinte wanna be free. With that, I'm out of here. Didn't want to make a 30-minute rant. It's gonna be really short. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys.